On behalf of the Press Information Bureau, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, it is my privilege and honor to welcome you all to this one-day media session on Vartalap. May I request, to begin with felicitation, may I request all our dignitaries to grace the dais, to come forward and grace the dais, while I request Mr. Lauren Brown to, while I request Mr. Lauren Brown to felicitate the guests, and I also request the ushers to escort them. Today's event is indeed special as we will be engaging with experts who will deliberate on three significant themes: commemoration of one. Thank you, sir. Okay. Today's event is indeed special as we will be engaging with experts who will deliberate on three significant themes: commemoration of 150 years of Vande Mataram, and on GST reforms 2025, relief for the common man, boost for business, and also deliberate on the transformative initiative of Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan, empowering individuals and institutions for tribal transformations. Ladies and gentlemen, let us commence the inaugural session. To begin the proceedings, may I invite Shri Nampibu Marimai, IAS, Director of News, Doordarshan Kendra, and All India Radio ISO, also the President of this program, to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. At the very outset, I would like to warmly welcome and express my sincere gratitude to our chief guest, Raljatrova, Minister for INTR, NS, FCS, MCA, LR, NS, Government of Mizoram, for consenting to be the chief guest of this one-day media workshop. Sir, we are truly grateful and honored to have you with us. Despite your heavy schedule, you have made yourself available to grace the program. I would also like to extend my warm regard and welcome to guests of honor, who SK Liana, Tax Commissioner, Government of India, Mizoram. Sir, we are extremely delighted to have you here, and your valuable speech will surely enlighten the program. I also want to welcome resource persons of today's workshop, media persons, students of ICFAI University, MZU, my dear colleagues of Doordarshan, All India Radio, EID, CBC, INPR, and ladies and gentlemen. We are organizing this program as part of development, communication, and information dissemination scheme under Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India. This scheme is an umbrella program designed to publicize various government schemes and initiatives through the multi-pronged synergetic publicity campaign. The aim and objectives of the scheme are general awareness, elicit public participation, foster attitudinal and behavioral change, ensure public compliance, maintain and health environment, disseminate information. Today, as part of the scheme, we are organizing the Vartalap on commemoration of 150 years of Vande Mataram GST reforms 2025 and Adi Karmayogi Abhiyan. This year, November 7, 2025 marks the 150th anniversary of India's national song Vande Mataram. This composition and enduring anthem has inspired countless generations of freedom fighters and nation builders, standing as a lasting emblem of India's national identity and collective spirit, unity and pride. It has become an integral part of the nation's civilizational, political and cultural consciousness. Commemorating this milestone presents an occasion to reaffirm the timeless message of unity, sacrifice and devotion that Vande Mataram embodies for all Indians. The government of India will commemorate this is in 4 phases. We will have more on this from our resource person, Professor Ayambam Sam Kishore, in our technical session. We will have detail. He will teach us, he will give a detail. Coming on, we have session on GST reforms 2025. The 56th meeting of the GST Council chaired by Union Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman has now approved next generation GST reforms would focus on improving the lives of the common man and ensuring ease of doing business for all, including small traders and businessmen. Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi had announced the government will bring next generation GST reform, which will bring down tax burden on the common man on the eve of celebrations of 79th Independence Day. I hope our Honorable Commissioner of State Taxation will share valuable word on this, and also we have Professor James L.T. Thanga as a resource person from Mizoram University. The Ministry of Tribal Affairs has officially launched the Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan. This is envisaged as the world's largest tribal grassroots leadership program aimed at empowering tribal communities, strengthening responsive governance, and creating local leadership opportunities across the country. Launched under the visionary leadership of the Prime Minister of India, the Abhiyan emphasizes Soe, service, Sankalp, resolve, and Samarpan, dedication, reflecting the guiding principle of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, Sabka Vishwas. This initiative forms a key part of the Janjatiya Gaurav verse and contributing towards the vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047. I hope our resource person P. Vyakthasani Rachel, Deputy Advisor cum Deputy Secretary, Planning and Program Implementation Department, Government of Mizoram will add more insightful and Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan in the state of Mizoram. The success of the government development scheme is depending on multiple numbers of factors. Among them, encouraging the participation of the public and giving awareness to the public through various means of media and communication. Considering this importance and the role of media, today we are organizing one-day media workshop on the following theme, that is commemoration of 150 years of Vande Mataram. Second one is GST reforms 2025. And the third one is Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan. So with these few words, once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Colombe.
Thank you, sir, for your hearty welcome and highlights of these events. It is now my honor to invite our guest of honor, UHKL Hongyana, Commissioner of State, Government of Mizoram, to address the gathering and share his valuable insights.
Honorable Minister, organizers, and all the officials and all the participants of today's event. Greetings to you all. Honestly, this is my first time attending this kind of event. However, I'm very glad that I'm invited by the organizers. At the same time, when I first saw the invitation, I was very confused, and I don't know what to say. So I thought to myself, what shall I say? So anyway, if I'm not mistaken, Vartalap means discussion or conversation. So today, I think we're going to discuss topics as we said in the banner. I'm very glad that today we are going to hear about GST, next GST reforms, or we also call it GST 2.0, and other important subjects. And I'd like to thank the organizers also for bringing up the GST 2.0 in this event. GST is known by general people. So the 2017 tax reforms and introduction of GST was the biggest tax reforms in India. For small and importing states like us, like Mizoram and other small states, it is like touching paid sum. It is a boon for the state of Mizoram. When the GST was introduced in 2017, our sales tax collection has increased by 38.94%. This happened because traders prepaid GST, prepaid tax at the time of purchasing goods from other states. In that regime, and this never happened. This is not our practice. So, this prepaid tax came back as a form of IGST, integrated GST, every month, at the end of every month, to the state consolidated fund. I think it's more than 90% of our goods come from other states. Actually, we don't have any exports from our state. Even if there is exports, it will be very, very less. So that's why GST is a boon for us. GST has been in force about 8 years now. During the period, the GST law has been amended many times, and even the rate of tax also have been changed many times. The 56th GST Council meeting that was held on September 2025 decided to revise and rationalize rate of tax, and the new rate was effective from 22nd September 2025. I was also there in the meeting with my minister, Dr. Markantea. Tax collection, everyone expected tax collection to be a decline after the implementation of GST 2.0. But fortunately, our collection has not declined yet, till today. In the month of August, GST collection was 63.79 crore. That is pre-GST 2.0. In September, it was 71.51 crore. And that is 7.72 crore higher than the previous month. And in October what is the latest report we have? It was 77.70 crore. And that is 6.19 crore higher than the previous month. This is September. We are very fortunate. To be honest, we are also afraid of decline. But we tried very hard, and we give our utmost effort not to decline. So we create a quick response team, QRP. We have two QRT teams. They work very hard. They run around different places within the cities and also support. QRP is established to ensure that taxpayers pay tax correctly and prevent tax evasion after this GST 2.0. Till today, this QRT is working very hard, and they run different places all day, and they come back in the evening and report their actions to me, and we plan the next days working plan, and from their efforts, we even collect more than 10 lakh rupees from traders who do not follow and who contravene provisions of the Act GST. So apart from this, since the beginning of this year, we have undertaken a major project of restructuring of the department. The government has taken many steps to ensure the success of our project. The government, as a speaker of the department, I'm very glad that around 60% of the project has been completed, and I hope and expect that it will be completed within this financial year. So I will not take long. So we have another session and another class course, and I hope our project will be completed within this financial year. And I hope and expect that our restructuring will have a huge impact on our state's economy also. So I would like to conclude my speech by wishing you all the best on this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your key highlights. Now it is my privilege to invite our chief guest, Pupila Tanzaba, Honorable Minister of State for Information, Public Relations, Printing and Stationery, Food, Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs, and Land Revenue and Settlement, to deliver the inaugural address.
Good morning, all of you. Who Nampibo Marimai, IIS, Director News, DDK. Who HK, Dalhongiana, Commissioner of Tax, State Tax, Government of Mizoram, and the dignitaries, the resource person, our speaker, and the students, the participants all over who are coming here, greeting you. I am very much feel at home since I am newly appointed for IFPR Minister, and also feel privileged to be with you on the day of one-day media conclave, Vartalap, on commemoration of 150 years of Vande Mataram and GST reform 2025. Since the DGK and the INVR and the media house are the organizers, the director of DGK who Nambibau Marin my host told me that to compare with last year, this year audience are more in number. I hope so. In the future, more participants will attend and participate in the same event in the year to come. As we all know that there are 3 topics selected for this event. Commemoration of 150 years of Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram is an Indian national song connecting the Indian It is a song to celebrate India's independence, and it is also a national pride. And honoring the country, freedom fighters and warriors, reflecting an Indian rich culture, heritage and history. And we have been singing the national song with pride and respect. As we know that Vande Mataram is composed by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee 150 years ago. Till now, this poem is an inspirational song that connecting each one of us in this great country. This Vande Mataram will make India pride and making our country India a better and great country. I hope today the resource person, Professor Dr. Aryambam Samkishore, Department of Political Science, Mizoram University, highlight and telling us in depth about the Vande Mataram, how it is important for our country. And the next topic is GST reform 2025, relief for common man, boost for business. I am not an expert in text subjects, but I am very much keen and interested to know and think about the text in our country, because GST collection is collecting not the states, all the states, but it touches each one of us, both the urban and the rural areas. I very much feel somehow nervous when the American president has made a huge tax percentage, like 25 like that. But after that, our country leaders, our political leaders, has made a new GST regime, which is somehow good for the middleman, common man. As of now, as per my understanding, only two step 5% and 18%. How it will change our economic scenario in India? It may hamper our collection, our tax collection, or whether it will improve. I am very much preoccupied. But we know, and we got information from Commission of State Tax also. There is no report of declining GST collection. As far as tax collection is concerned, today I am with my PS, Under Secretary Puremlala, Under Secretary in Revenue Department. It is not connected with GST, but I am very much taking way forward to improve our state's tax sale collection from Revenue Department, particularly from stamp duty. Stamp duty is moving forward and the system is also improving. I hope that from the Revenue Department, our state-owned tax resource will improve. Our expert Professor Dr. James L.B. Thanga, I hope he will analyze after some time how the Revenue Department is taking forward to improve the stamp collection. Stamp collection improving is not alone our mission, but the system improvement, reform in administration. It is also contributing for ease of doing business. Revenue Department is hugely improved the administration and the policy change. In the next year, in the assembly session, I am supposed to introduce new rules, which will be very much great help for our revenue reform for our people. And Mizoram business peoples and common men, I hope, will get more information, knowledge. Giving tax through GST is not a burden. Anyone who can give tax, if we can give tax, it is a blessing. We need to think in terms of that. It is not penalty. Giving tax is not a penalty. It is a contribution for our country. As a minister, I have been thinking on my own, how can we improve the Mizoram can manage on its own resources? How can we improve? How can we minimize our dependency to the central government? If our dependency percent is 90% as of now, how can we minimize up to 70%, 60%, 50%, 40%, 30%? We need to work together. I request our expert in that subject matter will let them make us more vibrant in giving tax. And the next topic is Adi Karamiyagi Abhiyan, empowering individual institutions for tribal transformation. Apart from two topics, am closely relating with these topics since I am social worker, completing Master of Social Work, and I have a specialization subject in community development. Completed my MSW in 2005 from Mizoram University. I am very much involved in tribal development, community participation, involvement. This one-day media conclave, Vartalap, is focusing more on to be able to effectively implement the central and the state policies and schemes like tribal development project, tribal development schemes. The people who are at the grassroots levels, the people who are at the last mile need to know. Not only they need to know, but they will become the designer for which the project, the scheme have been made. They will not only the recipient, they will not only the beneficiaries, they will become the engineer to frame policy and schemes that is affecting their welfare and their well-being. Meanwhile, the departmental cooperation, convergence, connections, sharing ideas is the vitals that will brings a meaningful outcome to the implementation of their schemes. As far as my knowledge is concerned, when the central government is declaring schemes and projects, the last miles people, the people who are living in the remote rural areas, the urban outskirts, the urban poor, do not really understand what is the schemes, what is the policy. If they don't know, how can they utilize properly? And even, for example, there is a Mizoram State Healthcare Scheme, MUHCS, for which, as MLA, even now also, when the poor peoples are coming to me, even today, even last week, they are requesting to help. Why don't you connecting with Mizoram State Healthcare Scheme? We don't know at the time of opening of registration. They are saying like that. We should not condemn those people. We need to condemn ourselves. Each and every people should know to their doorsteps about our policy. Even my department, our department, revenue department particularly, whenever there is a new policy or a new notification, it is my message to our officers, try to disseminate as widely as possible. If our small groups knows it, how can the people utilize the policy? This is really important. Today, our Vartalap, our dialogue, our media, our DTK, our AIR, our INPR, our mission is to bring the message to the doorsteps of the people. If we can improve knowledge and expertise of our people, I hope our program, our schemes will surely utilize, maximum utilization, I hope. And even the students are coming here from MZU Ifan. You need to know how the bank is giving policies for your further studies. And can there be any other schemes which is available from the state on or the center, you are highly qualified. You need to explore yourself. Meanwhile, many other low standard students need to get quick and detailed information about their welfare. Knowledge is strength, as we have been talking. It is really still without knowledge. Development, sustainable development cannot be achieved. It is my request to our INPR, our DDK and our media house to promote cooperation among the departments, social welfare departments, RD departments, women and child development, EWD, education. As far as my involvement is concerned, we had 3 convergence MOU with social welfare department, last day, and agriculture department, including it is on the pipeline with forest department also. Because if we don't have cooperation and convergence among interdepartmental departments, it will hamper the fruitful implementation and the fruitful outcome of the project. Let there be a good cooperation, and even me, I am supposed to visit DDK as soon as possible to discuss about how DDK can more resilience and promoting the information to the people. With all this, the cooperation of the organizers, the speakers, and the audience will surely make today's events a triumph. Wishing you a grand success for the events. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable and truly inspiring address. Now, to formally conclude the inaugural session, may I now request Dr. Rajiv Norembam, IIS, Communication Officer of Press Information Bureau, Government of India, to present the vote of thanks.
Sibai, good morning to Honorable Minister of State, to Lalchan Jowa, and to Aiske Langhong Liang, Commissioner of State Tax, Government of Mizoram, and to Nampibao Miranmai, Director News, DDK ISO, and to all the officials of DIPR, DDK ISO, Akaswani ISO, members of Mizoram Journalists Association, resource persons, and students of IFAI University, Mizoram University, and faculty members of IFAI University. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and thankfulness to Honorable Minister of State, Lalchan Jowa, for sparing his valuable time and consented to be the guest of today's program. Sir, you have highlighted valuable and key words of today's themes that and also encouraging to this program and also to enhance GST in the state of Mizoram, and also you appeal and you request to the participant today as well as to the public of Mizoram to pay the tax and the role of tax collection in the nation building and in the development of the state. So you also highlight about the Ati Karma Yogi Abhiyan, that the public should aware about the scheme and they should understand and they should participate it, and they should get the benefit of the schemes. Maybe it's a centrally sponsored scheme as well as it is state sponsored schemes. So once again, thank you, sir, for your valuable words. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and thankfulness to Honorable Commissioner of State Tax, Government of Mizoram, who escaped Lampong Liana. Sir, your valuable input on GST, especially in the state of Mizoram, where maximum number of goods and products where we are dependent from the outside, we import from outside. So you put up with keywords that the new GST reforms 2025 is a boon for the state of Mizoram as well as for other northeastern states, which is the similar economic condition in the state of Mizoram. Sir, once again, thank you, sir, for your valuable and sharing your valuable this time. I would also like to thank Nampibao Piranmai, Director News, DD Mizoram, for consenting to be the president of today's program. Sir, I would like to thank for your valuable guidance and suggestion in successful conduct of today's event. I would also like to thank Director IPR and staff members for their cooperation and support in today's program, especially Deputy Director P. Mina for her precious contributions and support Joint Director P. Mina for her precious contribution and support in successful conduct of today's program. I would also like to thank the President of Mizoram Journalists Association, Vice President, Secretary and other office bearers and the members of Mizoram Journalists Association for extending their valuable cooperation and sparing their valuable time in successful conduct of today's event. I would also like to thank Shri Om Prakash Tripathi, Head of Office, DD Mizoram, and to the Head of Program, DD Mizoram, News Editor, Shri Anush Malik, DD Mizoram, and the crew members of camera for extending full cooperation and coverage of today's event. I would also like to thank Pu Gingante, Assistant Director and Head of Regional News Unit, Akashvani, Aizoul, for his valuable contribution in pre-planning of today's program, and to other officials of Akashvani Aizoul. I would also like to thank Professor Ayambal Samkishu, Department of Political Science, Mizoram University, and Professor James L.T. Thanga, Department of Economics, Mizoram University, and the Vaikang Sanghi Rasul, Deputy Advisor from the Deputy Secretary Planning and Programming Implementation, Government of Mizoram, for sharing the precious time and kindly consented to be a resource person of today's program. I would also like to thank the Vice Chancellor of IFA University, faculty members and students for their cooperation and support. And I would also further like to thank the Head of Department, Mass Communication, Mizoram University, and faculty members and students and PhD scholars for cooperation and support in today's program organized by PIB Aizoul. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank to all my staff of PIB Aizoul and Central Bureau of Communication Aizoul, and to my team, the program program host, and to all the ushers. Once again, thank you all present here. Kalome.
Press Information Bureau. Okay, so sir, if you're ready, shall we start with our first presentation? I request Professor Arindam Shyamkishore, Department of Political Science, Mizoram University, to give his first presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My colleague on the dais, officers from the DIPR, my friends from the media, and my dear students. Today I'm going to talk on the commemorations of 150 years of Vande Mataram. First, let me say a big thank you to the organizing committee, organizing team for giving me the opportunity to be here and share my thoughts on the Vande Mataram. Actually, when we talk about this Vande Mataram, I was thinking from morning that normally when we have any kind of a movement, whether it's a big or small, normally some kind of song, some kind of a poem, you should inspire normally. This is not only in one particular region or one particular part of the world. It happens almost every part of the world. Some kind of slogan or some kind of poem or some kind of song, you should inspire the whole. So Vande Mataram is one such kind of a poem. Like if you talk about in the Mizo context, say for example, I don't know whether I am reading out very clearly or not, like the song written by Rokuma Wi-Fi in 1947, Ro means self subchi, I think. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing correctly. That kind of a song actually inspired the patriotism to the community. To even now also when there is a gathering in the Mizo community, you must be hearing this kind of song even today. Similarly, Vande Mataram started with that kind of inspired. When I talk about this, say for example, when we talk about Vande Mataram, as in the morning also, the Honorable Chief Minister talked about a bit of. Vande Mataram, if we translate in English, some of the scholars like and the freedom fighters, they used to translate like this. Vande Mataram means I bore thee mother. Actually, it tries to inspire or signify India as a mother. We are the children of India. And we are supposed to devote and sacrifice for our motherland. That is the sense of Vande Mataram. And this particular poem was written by Pankaj Chandra Chatterjee in Sanskrit. That is why it's very difficult to pronounce the whole text of the Vande Mataram, because it's Sanskrit, written by a Bengali poet. And it is also pronounced as Vande Mataram on 7 November 1875. Actually, he wrote this poem. It was not very popular in the beginning, but the moment he put this particular poem in his novel, Bengali novels, Anandamat, published in the year 1892. From here on, it becomes very, very popular. Then Rabindranath Tagore put the music in it, and he sang the poem at the Calcutta session of the Indian National Congress in 1896. This is where the freedom movement also started. It becomes a very, very powerful symbol, a kind of an entity, a kind of a, say, symbol of Indianness. You're supposed to sing. You're supposed to remember you are the son, you are the daughters of the motherland called Bharat. That is the idea of Vande Mataram. As a result of that, it was adopted as the India's national song
by the Conclave's Working Committee in 1937. Then after the independence, it becomes a nation song and declared on 24 January 1950. So this year happens to be the 150 years. As a result of that, the government of India, they have decided to celebrate 1 year long all over the country as a 150 years of anniversary of Vande Mataram. And the Prime Minister already inaugurated this 1 year long commemorations of 150 years of the nation song. What I'm going to do is I'll be talking a little bit about the significance of Vande Mataram in the context of Bengal partisans, because it popularized during the partition of Bengal. Then it spreads all across the country. So I will be talking a little bit about its relations with the Indian national movement. Then even a little bit of controversy is also there with this particular song. So I will be touching a little bit about these 3-4 issues in my presentation. Let me start with the consciousness, the political consciousness related with Vande Mataram. The moment the Indian National Congress adopted this song for their All India occasions at the Varanasi session 1905. From here on, you have to remember that 1905 is significant in the Indian freedom struggle, particularly with relation with the Bengal partisans. Bengal was divided into two. The eastern part, the Hindu-dominated side, as well as the western side, which is dominated by the Muslim. It was announced by the Lord Curzon on July 1905, but ultimately divided in October. In between this particular song becomes very, very popular. During this time, they even formed Vande Mataram Sampradaya. Sampradaya is a kind of a culture, a kind of a tradition. And this particular team, they used to meet on every Sunday in the morning. When I say went out, Prabhat varies means actually a kind of a, say, morning processions. And they used to sing the song Vande Mataram in every morning, every Sunday. That's how they started. Then again, a year later, another English daily with the name Vande Mataram was published. Started with Bipin Chandra Pal, but later on joined by Aurobindo Ghosh. This newspaper became very, very important. Why am I saying important? Because it becomes an instrument of India's awakening. I'm talking about the consciousness. The consciousness of India, the Indianness, started with this kind of a song, where we have to devote our time and energy. We have to work for the unity of the country. That is the idea of this particular song. As a result of this, it becomes the voice, the nationalist voice. It becomes the catchwords of every patriot, every Indian from that time onward. And it is also a kind of a tool, a kind of mechanism to resist the colonialism, the British Raj. That is how it started. Then, as I said, 1905 is very, very crucial. Because as I said, the British government decided to divide Bengal. During this time, Vande Mataram became the political slogan, and it was adopted. The song was first used as a political slogan on 7 August 1905. And it started with the youth. It is during the processions in Kolkata town halls related with the partisans and the Swadeshi movement in Bengal. As you know, on 16 October, it is on this day, the government divided Bengal officially. So during the anti-partition movement in Bengal, almost 50,000 people came. Just imagine at that point of time, caving 50,000 means some, say, more than 100 years back. Just imagine the value of that. So at that time, everybody was singing this Bande Mataram and that gathering. And it electrified, it spread all across the country. The influence was so strong that the government orders even erase whoever sings the song. And I also want to say here that when the government realized that it is time to control, it's time to ban even the singing of the song Bande Mataram. You know why? Because the government realized the influence of Bande Mataram as a song, as a slogan. As a result of that, they decided to take stringent measures. They decided to take some kind of a corrective or a controlling mechanism. So they banned or warned educational institutions if the schools and colleges sings or they start singing this or using the slogans Bande Mataram, they threatened that they will de-recognize the school and the college. The government threatened. In November 1905, the government decided to even fine ₹5 at that time to the students who sing the song. So they fined 200 students for singing the song Bande Mataram in 1905. That was the actions the government started taking up. It means it becomes a very, very popular and a powerful tool used against the British Raj, against the British colonialism. Since then onward, it becomes the theme song of the national movement. And as a result of that, the Conclave sessions of the Indian National Congress, they have adopted the song as the national song of India. And remember, at that point of time, Swadeshi movement was going on, where we want to use only our own product. Side by side with that, the idea of self-government becomes very, very popular. It is during this time, the Indian nationalist movement, they decided that self-government is the objective. Remember, it is during this time the revolutionaries, the extremists also rise up or controlling the Indian national movement. So during this particular point of time, they were using this song. As a result of that, it had lots of impact on the Indian revolutionaries, not only inside, but also even abroad. Say for example, in 1907, Madam Pegasi Kama raised the tricolour, the Indian national flag, for the first time outside India in Berlin, and the word Bande Mataram was written on the flag. That is how it started spreading across, not only inside the country, but outside the country also. Again, when Motherland Thingra was hanged in England, actually Motherland was a Punjabi student studying in England. He assassinated Sir William Hutchinson Willey, a retired Indian British army officer, was assassinated by Madhullah Thingra. As a result of that, he was hanged. When he was about to hang, the last word coming from his mouth was Bande Mataram. That is how it becomes a a kind of, as I said, a kind of a catchword of the freedom struggle. Again in 1909, Indian patriots in Paris, they come up with the publications, they come up with the magazines called as Vande Mataram from Geneva. That's how the term Vande Mataram become very, very popular outside also. Say for example, when Conclave went to South Africa, the people there welcomed with the song Vande Mataram. So this is how the word Vande Mataram becomes popular and used in the Indian freedom movement. Vande Mataram, it becomes one of the most popular and a permanent, it becomes a kind of a, say, it occupied a permanent place in every heart of, in every Indian. The phrase Vande Mataram itself was a mantra. When I say mantra, it means it's a kind of a, say, powerful kind of a, say, word used by the revolutionaries, as I said, and the nationalist leaders during the freedom struggle. And it becomes the prime song, it becomes the song of the protest for every occasion. And the moment Gandhi started leading the movement, as I said, from 1905 to the 1910, 11, 12, this is where the revolutionaries controlled the Indian freedom movement. Right after Gandhi arrived in the Indian national movement in the scene, then the mass protest started. During this time also, Gandhi also used the same song, the same poem, Vande Mataram. So Gandhi pointed out at a particular point of time in Bengal that he said, shall we not live up to it and sing with all our hearts and say we are sons of Mother India, not merely sons of Bengal. What does it mean? It means we are not only the son of Assam or Mizoram or Manipur or Nagaland or Uttar Pradesh or say Punjab, we are also the son of India, sons and daughters of India. So that is the sense, that is the idea. Even Mahatma Gandhi started using the term, the poem, when he started leading the movements in the 1920s onwards. So the song Vande Mataram became the emblem of India's struggle for independence, including the collective sense or the aspirations of the self-governance and the emotions. When I say emotional connections, I mean people to people. Say how we see each other. Say for example, if you look closely or if you follow the Indian politics closely, now we are divided so much. We are divided. If I talk about the divisions in the country, see everywhere it's divided now. You see what is happening in the politics of Tamil Nadu. The Tamil people say, the southern people say we don't want Hindi. The north people say, no, Hindi should be learned and taught everywhere. That kind of a divisions we have seen. Even if you go to the people from the northeast, when they landed in Delhi or others, people doesn't recognize them as Indians. That kind of petty politics, that kind of identity politics is controlling our politics for quite some time. But this is not the idea of the freedom fighters, the nationalists, those who fight for the India, I mean against the British. That is why they were thinking that once India becomes independent, we all will live together happily. A kind of say collective aspirations. Our collective aspiration is supposed to be developed country, a developed India, a country which we all can live happily, peacefully together. That should be the aim and object of the country. That is what they wish and look forward. Let me talk a little bit about these lyrics. As I said, it was written in Sanskrit. The translation is like this: I bore the mother. Here, as I said, is a motherland, rich the water, richly fruited, cool with the winds of the south, dark with the drops of the harvest, the mother. Her nights rejoicing in the glory of moonlight, her lane clothed beautifully with her trees and flowering blooms, sweet of lotus, sweet of speech, the mother, givers of boon, givers of please. This is a kind of a translation of the Bande Mataram, Sujalam, Sufalam, Malaya. But as I said, now many of us, including me, we don't know how to read. Even Sanskrit is already gone. Almost literally people are not interested to popularize. So as a result of that, it becomes like in every part of the country these are happening. Like in the Northeast also, many of the tongues are extinct. There are tongues which people doesn't speak anymore. Likewise, Sanskrit is also going. As a result of that, it becomes a kind of a very, very strange kind of a tongue now. Like, we never sing this Bande Mataram in my school days. We don't know about this. But suddenly, we started singing again. We said, Bande Mataram is a national song, we have to sing. The very purpose of all this is basically the consciousness. The consciousness of India. You and me are Indian. Not only you are a Mizo, not only I am a Manipuri, but also we all are Indian. That kind of a national consciousness. But at the same time, as I said, India, we are having lots of issues with it. Forget about fighting with the neighboring countries, but we are also fighting within us. Even this song also, it is not without any kind of controversy. It do have its own controversy. I don't know whether this is the right place to speak about this, but at the same time, as an academician, as many of us are students, we should know the both sides of the story. That's why I put a little bit of this issue of Bande Mataram. When Bande Mataram becomes very, very popular in the 1900s, around 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, some of the leaders, they are not agree with this particular song. They don't agree to sing the song Bande Mataram in the beginning or at the end of even for the Indian nation companies. Basically because some of the Muslim leaders, they found the song a little bit objectionable. You know why? It's basically because they felt that worshipping a mother was a polytheistic practice. In the Muslim, they said we are not supposed to pray or worship apart from Allah. That is the sense. So it means you cannot worship 2, 3, 4. You have to worship only one. As a result of that, they have their own reservations about Bande Mataram. Plus, this very song also contains a little bit of the Hindu. As a result of this, the Muslim leaders, they object about this particular song. The opposition started, as I said, when it became very, very popular. That was around 1908, 9, 10. Officially, they started 1908. But due to the nationalism, they died down a little bit off, even though they expressed their reservations. But in the 20s, in 1923, the first public protest against the song was upheld by Maulana Muhammad Ali. Actually, he was the one who was presiding the Kalinagata sessions of the International Congress. Again, in 1937, during the meeting of the Congress Working Committee in Kolkata, they again decided to shorten this song. They just want to play the first two stanza, but it doesn't convince the Muslim leaders. The whole argument is, we don't want to sing the song Vande Mataram, we want to remove it as a whole. Even if they want to, the Congress decided to put up only two stanzas, they are not satisfied with it. So the Muslim League chairman Muhammad Ali Jinnah raised an official objection again in 1938, even to this 1-2 stanza of Vande Mataram. That's how the whole politics of Vande Mataram started and continue even today. If you follow the speech of the Prime Ministers on the day of the commemorations of Vande Mataram, 150 years of commemorations on 7 November 2025 this year. He even talked about this. In India, this is the problem. For everything, somebody will have some objections. Somebody will oppose. Sometimes oppose for the sake of opposition also too happens. Which side they are, it doesn't matter. Whether if the Congress is on power, somebody will come up. When others are on the ruling, somebody will again object. This kind of things too happens. But my position is very clear. My position is like this. For the country, for your mothers, for your motherland, if we want to live together, we have to sacrifice a little bit of, maybe about my culture, maybe about my religion. Here and there, we need to have some kind of adjustment group. If we don't do that kind of adjustment, we cannot live together. Even in a family, the husband and wife will have differences. Forget about the country as big as India. Even in a small village, even a small family, we do have differences. But we have to move on. We have to live. That is why we need a little bit of sacrifice. With all the controversies during that time, when it comes to the Constituent Assembly, when the idea of Vande Mataram was brought up in the Constituent Assembly, there was no opposition again. Nobody opposed it. As a result of that, there was no debate on the issue of Vande Mataram. As a result of that, on 24th January 1950, the first president of India announced that Vande Mataram also would be honored equally with the Jana Gana Mana, the nation anthem. That is how Vande Mataram becomes a nation song, because Vande Mataram play a very, very crucial role in the freedom movement. Then, this present government headed by Shri Narendra Modi ji, they come up with this idea of celebrating the commemorations of 150 years of nation song. So he inaugurated, and in the inaugural speech, he remarked that Vande Mataram is not merely a word. It is a mantra and an energy, a dream, and a solemn resolve. This is his idea of Vande Mataram. Again, he highlighted that we all are supposed to devote our time, and we should be dedicated to our motherland, Ma Bharati. That's how the government used to. And then they want to connect each one of us with the history and today. They want to connect with the past and today. This is what we call as a political socialization in political science. The political consciousness, we have to re-awake. We have to bring the energy of the freedom struggle again, so that we all move together. We have to move forward together. If we are together, if we are united, no goal is beyond our reach. This is the sense of the Prime Minister, and he also released a stamp as a commemorative stamp and a coin on the particular occasions. And he reaffirmed that this land is our mother. This nation is our mother, and we are all the children of this great motherland. This is how the Prime Minister of India addressed the nations on the commemorations of the Vande Mataram. Thank you. I'll end up here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ayumbong, for giving us a comprehensive overview of India's journey towards freedom movement. It was truly empowering and enlightening. Our next theme is GST Reforms 2025, Relief for the Common Man, Boost for Business. And for that, I kindly request Professor James L. Tintana, Department of Economics, Mizoram University, to present his insights.
My colleague in the dais, the host, and distinguished officials, media personnel, students and faculty from Mizoram University and Pachuma University, IFI University, Mizoram. A very good afternoon to you all. I am delighted to stand before you as a resource person in this session. I'll talk about the thing that is 140 younger than Vande Mataram, 142 years. So it's a very different, completely different topic. My topic for this session is GST Reform 2025. Relief for common man, boost for business. So, in fact, the legislation of GST in 2026 and its implementation from July 2017 marked the most significant reform, taxation reform that the country has ever taken. It has a far-reaching implication on the fiscal landscape of both the central and the state government. And it makes the fiscal landscape, fiscal federalism of the country more vibrant and cooperative. We are claiming that we have a cooperative federalism. So any proposal to change the structure of GST invite participation of all the stakeholders. The key stakeholders now under GST regime are the states, not a dictation from the center. So it becomes that this regime become cooperative federalism setup. So, and also, since it touches everybody, state government, central government, and common man business, any change, even a slight change of the GST rate or any implementation guidelines touch everybody. That means it is a reform not only for the governance, a reform for the entire country, including the citizens, common man, business, governments. And before getting into the GST reform 2025, I would like to highlight the key structure of the old tax regime and how it was implemented and the burden that we faced during the old tax regime, so that we can have better understanding of the GST regime and the new GST reform 2025. First thing, the old tax regime, I mean VAT, value added tax. It was very complicated, complex structure with multiple collection at different stages. At factory manufacturing level, central excise was collected. The rate is more or less similar with GST, present GST rate. And the manufacturer, the industries were permitted to reimburse the tax paid at the time of input procurement, the cost of input. So we call it input tax credit. They were permitted to reimburse or to take credit of the tax they paid when collecting, purchasing the input for their produce under the Senvat credit rule. And when after passing the factory gate, the movement of commodities from one state to another, factory to the consumption state. So the origin state collect central sales tax. So another tax is coming up after the goods pass the factory gate, central sales tax. So it was collected by the origin state. And after, on the way to the destination, there's a lot of collection like octroi, entry fee for some particular area, entry tax, and multiple charges before reaching the destination. Then after the goods reach the destination, the states have their own VAT, value added tax rules. Different states have their own tax rules, which are not necessarily same. So this create this necessitate multiple interface of the business with the tax official. It was a very business unfriendly. And another problem is the VAT. Under the VAT regime, ITC, the tax they paid at the time of purchasing the input was not permitted to take VAT. So they are not eligible to reimburse the tax they paid at the time of procuring their input. ITC was not permitted. So this structure creates a situation like tax on tax. So we call it in economics cascading effect. So the price cannot be that low. So the price, we cannot have competitive price. The burden fell on the consumer, the final consumer. So we cannot be competitive globally because of this nature. And domestically also, we cannot be, the product cannot be competitive in the face of many goods imported from other countries. So this system is not consumer friendly and needs a reform. Now come to the GST regime. Coming to the GST regime, I call it a game changer because it is the most important landmark, and the most significant tax reform that the country has ever made in the past. So it is, the slogan is one tax, one nation, and destination-based tax. The population, the people who really pay the tax will pay their tax to their own state government, their own government. So it is a destination tax, and tax revenue is equally shared by central and state government, central GST and state GST. Whenever you purchase things, goods from the shop, then you will be charged GST. It is equally divided between GST, CGST and central GST. If it is 9 and 20, you pay 20 as a tax, then 10 rupees will go to central treasury and another 10 will go to the state treasury. So it is automatically done. Then it is one tax, one nation and one tax, one portal. The earlier tax regime, different states have their own tax portal, no connection with central excise. So efficiency, there was no efficiency. It had many loopholes, inviting corruption at different points. Then the business community need to pay some extra effort, put some extra effort and pay a bribe several times. So this complication has been simplified by the GST regime. So we call it a business friendly with predictability and less interface with tax officials and help ease of doing business. And I calculate one example. So hypothetical example. Manufacturer A in one state is selling his product to another business entity in B in other state. Then the original price of the good is 10,000. Then he has to charge tax on B. Then 18%, suppose it is 18%, 1,800. The total price that is to be paid by business B to business A is 11,800. Then coming to the state of where business B is operating, then after adding his profit 1,000, he charged the best price is 11,000. Then based on this, he calculated the GST 18%. 9% go to central and 9% go to state government. Then the total tax that he need to charge on the consumer is 1,980. But he is permitted to deduct the tax, the GST he paid at the time of purchasing the goods from Mr. A factory, manufacturer. So after deducting, this is called ITC. Manufacturer, he paid 1,800 to the manufacturer. Then after deducting this tax, then he need to pay only 180 rupees. So he can charge the final price to the consumer will be 11,180, lower than the price he paid in the input as an input cost. Interest here. Music is top money. Say, sing Katman, alaya 10,000 plus his plus 18% to Sakhatari Dalia. John Amantu to then sing Katsan Zarian. State across Dona Bangin, IGST and Dona. IGST to a destination state center in Zara same too. So Azula not red no Abanin, sing Katalaka profit to Kanin, James Sankat Abel Ani. James Sankat in Tawin Azur in Ani. James Sankat taking 1,000 as a base price, charge GST 18%, 1,980, and he can deduct 1,800 because he had paid already up to money as a part of his input cost. Then he need to pay only 180 rupees. So the final price to the consumer is 11,180, lower than the input cost. So in this way, ITC mechanism help reduce the price paid by the end consumer. Then we call GST a consumer friendly. So GST reform a boost, a relief for this implicates the GST reform as a relief for a common man. a poor and consumer. Now, the next slide, coming to the GST reform 2025. The pre-tax reform, in the pre-reform, there was a 4-slab rate structure plus 0% rate and cess over and above the normal tax. So, when the discussion for the implementation was GST was started, then there was an expectation that one tax, one nation, one rate, one nation. But when it was rolled out, then it came out with a 4-tax structure, another complicated rate structure, plus the cess was disturbing. So luxury in the luxury item, 28% was imposed, and over and above this, another charge, we call it cess, was imposed. So very confusing for the business. And another thing is the fresh thing, like fresh fruit, fresh food item, unpackaged item, they don't need to pay GST, 0 tax. But once it is packaged, not processed, then it invites 5% GST. But once it is further processed, it invites another rate, 12%. So there is a confusion, there can be a confusion. I can claim that, oh, this is unprocessed, it is just packaged. Then giving a small bribe to the tax officer, then he can classify it as 5% rate. But actually it has to be 12%. So there is a confusion. And it there is a loophole. If the business can convince the tax official, the tax inspector that it is unpackaged, unprocessed one. So this is another complication. Take pakat. Take me a local phrase, Kajiro niya. Saranga, politin na waigo antikanin, 5% GST to ita. Kakatlong dukanin, unprocessed ahera atsuma. Processing across to, katali 12% to nitani. Masetex unfiled, second return file kan. Process lo, unprocessed. Tikanin 5% as a charge. So this is another confusion. And the problem has been simplified. To some extent, to a great extent, I should say. Not all the problems are removed because we still have 2-rate structure. The structure has been reduced to 2-slab and retaining 0 GST rate, and it improved clarity on GST rate structure and super luxury items and sin good. Sin good we call the item that are injurious to health. Smoke, tobacco product and luxury items. Earlier they charged 28% GST plus cess. Now 40% fixed rate. So it gives clarity for the business and predictability for the investor. And another benefit that for the business is this GST reform 2025 fixed the inverted duty structure. We call it IDS, inverted duty structure. It means higher tax on input than tax on the final product. Under the GST regime, the business is permitted to reimburse, to take credit of the tax he paid as an input cost. When it's the difference has to be reclaimed. But if the input cost, the tax on input, if the tax on input rate, the tax rate on input is higher than the final product, there is a problem. The business cannot reclaim the full amount of ITC. We call ITC. So there is a problem. There is a problem of working capital problem for the business. Antina cheng sang khat ka paya final product ka kanin cheng jamal chapkalasiya. I pay 1,000 as tax, as input tax, but I charge only 500 from the consumer as a tax. So I cannot reclaim, I cannot avail the full amount of ITC. So this is the inverted duty structure. So this GST reform 2025 fixed the problem of inverted duty structure. So by reducing some key GST rates for some key raw materials, industrial raw materials like man-made fiber, it reduced the GST rate from 18% to 5%, and man-made yarn from 12% to 5%. You know, India, this textile sector is labor-intensive sector, so they generate a lot of employment opportunities. So to protect employment and to mitigate the problem is geopolitical issue. The problem caused by geopolitical issues like US taking additional tariff on Indian textile. So the input cost is reduced. So this will help the textile sector. It will boost the textile sector, I should say, and protect employment in this sector. And it also the new reform reduced the input tax on renewable energy from 12% to 5%. So those who are producing renewable energy, and they have to pay lesser amount of tax when their procurement of inputs. And another key issue is sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and ammonia. The GST rate has been reduced from 18% to 5%. So we are heavily depending on the import of fertilizer materials. So if GST rate is reduced, then fertilizer costs will be reduced. So it is a friendly situation for the farmers, the farming community. And in addition to this, Ministry of Finance and the GST Council introduced 90% provisional refund of ITC that is arising out of IDS, inverted duty structure. As a business, I have the right to reimburse the tax I paid as an input cost after selling my final product. But because of the inverted duty structure, the input tax higher than the output tax, then there is a balance, credit balance. So the Ministry of Finance has introduced a facility to the business for withdrawal of 90% of the input tax credit balance arising out of this inverted duty structure. This will help improve the liquidity and cash flow of the business. So we call a boost for business. It simplifies tax return filing and it clarifies confusion regarding the tax rates, and it relieves the business, the manufacturer facing working capital issues due to inverted duty structure problem. So this is a boost for business. And next is GST reform 2025, a relief for a common man. First thing is majority of the consumption item. Majority of the consumption item, not majority, more than 90% of the items which form the consumption basket of the consumer has seen GST rate reduction. After 22nd September this year. So You can imagine how it impacts the consumer. 90% in pluralism, in the item, GST rate, it touches 90%, more than 90% of the item you purchase for your family has been touched by the GST rate change. So the result is increased purchasing power of the poor and common man. Because essential goods, the rate for essential goods are reduced to 0 or 5% from 12 or 18%. And also it is a relief not for a poor, a middle, lower middle, upper middle class family, because by reducing luxury items, semi-luxury GST rate for semi-luxury items like scooty, two-wheelers, small cars from 28% to 18%. So that means the ease of living of a common man. They are also a common man just like us. We are all a middle class, I think, middle class, or at least lower middle class. It helped the ease of living of the poor and also helped the ease of living of the middle class and upper middle class by reducing the GST rate for the item they consume frequently. And I want to present my rough calculation of the impact of the GST rate reduction based on NSS, National Sample Survey, Consumer Expenditure Survey 2022 and 23. So it's a rough calculation. A family of 5 members can save at least 6,000 to 12,000 rupees per year because of this GST rate reduction. A big relief, a big incentive. See, there is direct transfer, PM Kisan, you know PM Kisan scheme, 6,000 to direct transfer to all farmers every year. So if you compare with this, the impact of GST, then per year, I expect, based on my rough calculation, a family of 5 members in rural areas can save at least 6,000 per year due to GST rate reduction. And in urban areas, a family of 5 members can save at least 10,000 per year. A big relief. So you can imagine the clothes. The GST you need to pay, well, buying clothes. Some family in money they join just some way to pay. You can't shoot Kevula, and it don't need the country money. A mass of the period. Change the some rate between can change the some way to pay. So GST rate cut reduction can in family sumbong sumpui one look at the Puzor can see Louis Puzor sumbong pui mechanic. Family sumbong put scholarship in love and color. Scholarship in love, the light in love and love. Come on, cut is our family. Unknowingly, anyway, implied in the money. So the result is your purchasing, the purchasing power of the household is increased significantly, due to GST reform 2025. So we can say, we cannot say it is not a relief for common man. We should say that it's a relief for a common man. And it is the ease of living of the common man. Thank you.
So our final theme for the day highlights the Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan, empowering individuals and institutions for tribal transformation, a visionary initiative aimed at strengthening local governments and institutional capacities. I am pleased to invite Ms. Vyaktansan Shasel, Deputy Advisor, Deputy Secretary, Planning and Program Implementation, Department, Government of Mizoram, to lead the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. My colleagues on the dais, the students from MZU and IPFI, and the faculties from the universities. I am very honored to be able to take part in this conclave, Vartalap conclave today. So my topic for today is Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan, empowering individuals and institutions for tribal transformation. So before we get to the actual PPT, I would like to share a brief history of how this Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan came into being. Since 1950 to 2015, the Planning Commission was taking over all the planning fund of the country with the budgetary allocation power. And in 2015, it was replaced by Niti Aayog. I think we are all aware of that. And the Planning Commission was using this top-down approach where every plan was centralized at the central government and plan was allocated to the states based on that plan. But with that replacement of Planning Commission by Niti Aayog, the top-down approach was replaced by the bottom-up approach, which we see being materialized through various departments of the states, like the rural development departments and local administrative departments, where all the local communities are taking part in the actual governance of the state. But in September 2025, the Modi-led government took another step forward in introducing this Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan, which is a responsive governance program, and where all the communities of the tribal communities are prompted to actively participate in this governance program of the state. So we will go into details. Going through the overview of the Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan, the Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan is a transformative national movement that embodies the Honorable Prime Minister's visionary call for Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas, in alliance with the broader national aspiration of Viksit Bharat 2047. So this AKA AKA is it's not a scheme, it's a mission, it's an abhiyan where it is the largest it's the largest transformative mission in the world, where more than 20 lakh tribal leaders are to be transformed into change leaders. So the Honorable Prime Minister had long visualized this Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas, which actually means everyone's support. Development will be achieved through everyone's support, everyone's trust, and everyone's efforts. So this Viksit Bharat 27 is it actually means developed India by the year 2047. So this Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan has been introduced to achieve this Viksit Bharat 2047. So this Abhiyan reimagines the governance in tribal regions. We know that 98% of the population in Mizoram is constituted by this tribal population, but this is not the case in many of the other states of India. Let's see, for example, in Jharkhand, only a few portion of the population will be comprising of tribals. So we do not have the same living standards as those tribals residing in those areas. So this reimagines governance. It is so the whole scenario cannot be the same in Mizoram as those in other states. So it reimagines governance in tribal areas not as a top-down service delivery mechanism but as a bottom-up approach, community-driven by community, and it positions the tribal citizens not only as beneficiaries, but as a leader of change. We are all to be the leaders of change. We should be the custodians of our traditions, and co-creator of development rooted in dignity, identity, and agency. Viksit Bharat 2047 achieve nan hanin he Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan hi Prime Minister Khanin Arun launcha September 2025 Khan hemi movement in hemi scheme ani lawa movement and ya mission and ya 2030 thinga 18 tribal area te 18 kan lo chang kan thiam ti khani ta SDG kan enchuan sustainable development goals kan enchuan in Mizoram Viksit Bharat 2047 achieve enchuan SDG ranking sam tak kan ni angaya SDG enchuan sustainable development goal ani is not only about increasing the per capita income of the state or the GSDP of the state. So bangchanin GSDP te allow san not kan SDG kan achieve ti na kha ni lo but so bangchan there should be equal distribution of income. So in region wise po khanin equal ta kan develop chau kha maya. So bangchan he adi karma yogi abhiyan kan tribal community te kha ron concentrate tribal community khanin top down delivery mechanism nelvin bottom up delivery mechanism kha arim introduce mi zongzong tribal community zongzong dekha leader of change kami anga we will be the custodians of our traditions, and we will not only be the beneficiaries but we are co-creators of development rooted in dignity, identity, and agency. Kimalika agents kan divik dodon kha Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyanin Aran Tumbir Khanitani. Tuanin Ama Akan Soito Khanin Abhiyan Mission Khanin. It aims to train and nurture 2 million change makers across 1 lakh tribal villages in 30 states and UTs. And it is built on a bottom-up data-informed and people-driven governance model. Real-time data Khanin governance model kha aron siam chauta ai apui ema in Mizoram khobe lai han hetiang movement hi ala ongai lo ni chon competition skill chon DAPST fund kan ti china kha ama chon in tribal sub plan kan ti chin khadi APST ti kha ron thakta it has grown 5-fold in a decade. It is 25,000 crore to 124,000 crore within a period of 10 years. So the real bottleneck is here is the institutional depth, community leadership, and last mile activation. DAPST fund te khatam takin ran pukma se kan institution kan structure dan kha aron fu lawa community leadership kan weak ema chonin heta khote takti te thing tribal ho omna khanin khatyang kan scheme te kha ba thing phalo china ma se hemi adi karma yogi abhiyan hianin mi pui the leadership mang khan kha kharun kha big kha du ta ni. So the guiding principles are seva, service to community and nations, samarpan, dedication to justice and inclusion. All the community members are to be included in this exercise. Conclave resolved to bring every tribal voice to the forefront. So no one is to be left behind. Every community member of the tribal population are to take part in this mission. So everybody will have a voice in this mission. So bridging the gap, it is inspired by the Honorable Prime Minister-led missions 30 ABHA, Convergence Kantika, 30 ABHA Abhiyan, PM Jalman, and National Sickle Cell Mission. So an alignment, so in Viksit Bharat 2047 and Janjatiya Gaurav, Tribal's Pride, affirming that the roots of the Bharat will shape the future of India. bang chuan he kan adi karma yogi abhiyan hi nakina chuan nang mani khwa ati ko khani committee te ko kha lo thia. It will include all the sections of the society. Nang mani ko kha you may take part in that committee. Bang chuan in he kan thil tum ro pui tak India ram 2047 developed India ni kan tumna ahya nang mani ko khani you are a part of all of this mission, so you should take part very actively. Bang chuan support ka kan pek chu kha angai ni chuanin hetayan a genesis silo entaila 61,097 tribal empowerment camps khan neitani. It's all about awakening and enlightenment that tira khaswan acha chu kan ril ru kha hemi aka ha transform atuma. It's not a scheme kan ti to kha transform atuma empowerment camps khan neita a chuan heta hianin Ministry of Tribal hetiang camp pa hianin ni last mile delivery kan ti to kha hetiang camp ne han 14.33 lakh Aadhaar enrollments kha anti to a chuan Ayushman Bharat card kha 10.04 lakh kha an issue to boka. PM Kisan khami farmers state registry kha PM Kisan registrations kha 5.02 lakh anti to a PM Jandan accounts khami tribal te bank accounts kha 4.77 lakh anti to a chuanin sickle cell disease screening si Mizoram acha sickle cell kha umlawa it's non-existent, so this is not relevant here. Anyways, it has there have been screenings of about 9.01 lakh sickle cell disease screenings. Chuanin 58.63 lakh benefits across 17 plus key social security schemes. Kha hemi Mang 30 Bajan Bhagirari Abhiyan hemi akalo chuana scheme pakhat pamyan hemi hi ti to anitani chuanin scope of abhiyan kan en chuan 11 crore tribals kha a reach to ranita it should reach 1 lakh tribal villages, 30 states and UTs, 550 plus districts and 3,000 blocks, 2 million karma yogis. Adi karma yogis contains one change leaders. It basically means change leaders. 2 million karma yogis khasyam kha atumani. So a core objective contains one multi-tier responsive governance workshops and spiral of change. So this mission aims to set up multi-tier responsive governance workshops from the village to the state level to foster a spiral of positive change through co-creation, testing, incubation, designing and scaling of service delivery models tailored to tribal geographies and cultural contexts. Regular workshops to build culture of responsive, accountable and agile governance, and core grassroots leadership empowerment 2 million sparks and there 2 million karma yogis khasyamatuma. Cutting edge government officials from all levels across departments identified, they are trained. And Adi Sahyogis and their youth leaders, that's where you come in. Teachers, doctors, social workers, the Pokatil Victor Khanita, so Adi Sathis can TSHGs, the NGO ho, NRLM members, the tribal leaders, the volunteers, the Kang Ho Zong Zong Ka, rope in Ka too many. So on village visioning and development action planning and investment through Dachkwa. So on co-creation of village vision 2030 Akhanin village vision hi siamatumta development and action plan with investment through Dachkwa kan take a scheme pakhat anita village vision kha change leaders how khan and siam donani focus on infrastructure, assets creation and service delivery, institutionalizing village-level convergence of 7 critical departments: health, education, livelihoods, WCD, women and child development, Panchayati Raj, tribal affairs and rural development. Establishing village seva centers for grievance redressals and public service delivery. Kha a core objective Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan in Atum Anita Amasira Atwani workshops hengi tam tak kha kan kal tang to Mizoram batong pon mi tam tak inge district in atang khan workshop si kan attend to a chuan heta hian grassroots leadership empowerment khan ta 2 million tribal change leaders khasiam tu ta atopa chuanin what ultimately these grassroots leaders will go to the village itself and develop action plan and investment through Dajqua continue scheme pakhat kha anita chuanin hemi hian tum chu for example kan han ena kan ram shang kan han ena kan aizol hi chumi khwa ang chumi ve kan du kan ti a kan visualize tani mase amuna kan thil du na hun internal New York te khatya ang kha TV a chuan tam tak kan huta ama se kha kan zu visualize thiam chiang lo amuna kan zu kal lo fa ni ta chu wang chuanin immersion kha apoi mo tani heng change leaders te hianin amuna uli an vakala mi pui ti rel ru kha anei tu ni na rel ru nen ti khan anei tu an ni an mani kha co-creator of development an ni ti khami change kha he mission hian atum anita amazon beneficiaries to kha kan ni china enge sarkar jang khan enge kan be se chin kan ti chuanin sarkar in sum ni pese kan ta state flagship program te por ong ta poisa chengwai hi khatian sima kha kan lo la ta we were only just beneficiaries, we did not take part in it mase tuna chuan he mission ina tu chu everybody is a part of this governance chu wa chuanin khata khan immersion kha angai po mo ta he change leaders ho hi an vakalanga khwa khan akhwa ti khan ini an mo tak tak ti kha an va en chhuak pi kanga akhwa kha an va fanga chuan every members of the society of the community, whether it is from the SHGs, from the weaker section of the society, from the women organization, from the youth organization, everybody should take part in it, and they will have transact walk, and they will see that they will make notes of all the deficiencies, all the infrastructure gaps within the village, and they will develop an action plan for that village. So everybody is taking part in that mission actively. So here outcome hi village action plan an siam hi poisa mu nan chau milawin 2030 a chuanin vision kan siam mai ba ka khanin poisa mu scheme kan ni zong zong den khan converge khan heta hianin engtin nge ram kan ti that thiang mi puite mo tak tak enge khatyang ang kha ron ti chhuanan khan he mission hi an mang don ani chu wang chuanin apoi mo ma mission ro pui tak tunai han kan pui me kani chuanin a spiral of change and engtin ye to me mission to engtin ye kan ti thiang hi den kan in training this conventional method of training is not the result. It is it is very non-conventional. Training kan kal ko khan a conventional lo ni tia etianga kan ti PPT kan insertir ang ringot kha ani lo ta kan thuak te kan real ru te engtin ye le tu ni na real ru kha mi puya kan tu theyang ti kha ni ta citizen kan ni kha chuanin he ram hi kan ta ani kan khwa hi kan ta ani kan ve kan ta ani chu wang chuanin scheme te kan lo avela ani sarkar tang poisa kan ne ringot khan kha atok lo ni chu wang chuan a hasabira chuan awakening and empowerment kha anti phut ta they build capacities equipped with tools, human resources tools, not as in material tools but capacities development, and instill confidence to lead governance innovations. Amasabira khan mipuya khan awakening kha kan vasyam turani chuan adutasan action facilitate real-time evidence-based village development actions through convergence through various schemes. Engatinge khothen khati englo khothen khatte hi an VC an chaklo ni engatinge avan to fall week kan ti chuan because it's lack of knowledge of schemes nachina kan chief guest in the soido khan aksoi to ang khan anything he kan shiat lo kan ti chuanin kan in shil shitong lo chu bang chuan he adi karma yogi abhiyan po hyang mi pui zong zong kha kan scheme avel the te kha shil shiat te kha tu ma chu bang chuanin tu na hyang kan knowledge te kan thil te hi kan shitle tu ka chu bang chuan kan thil avel the hi kan shitle ma hemi bang hyanin kan nu fol deu thin po alo ni a demonstration na khan anexa kan lut le anga showcase outcomes, foster pride, restore trust between citizens and government. Chuanin tunai hanin sarkar ajan rin hi mipui khian an hma tharle angaya sarkar hi mipui te ta na thok ani ti hi an sha tharle nan khan kha kan thil vahu chwa kha kan demonstrate tonani chuan kan institutionalize ang embed leadership processes and community participation in governance permanently. It's not only a one-time exercise. Kami real ru kami pui zong zong transform kan tuma anei tu ni na real ru kan put do khachuan na ki na plan kan siampon action plan kan siampon be it through the planning commission, be it through the through Niti Aayog or be it through various departments of the state. Khatia khachuanin anei tu ni na real ru le na kan ram kan shwaya mi zong zong kan participate khachuan kha hemi mission in atum kha kan institutionalized tonani so scaling and replication expand the spiral across geographies departments and communities nationwide hetai hanin kha ko kha change leaders kha 2 million sparks kan siam do ta khami 2 million sparks te khanin anmania khan top lawing ni zong zonga kha kan replicate anga mi zong zong kha nei tu ni na rel ru kan put te thei do na kami hanga sarkar in real pol chokha tuna kan sarkar in atuma adi karma yogi abhiyan lo chwa dan chu anita a so village level outcome intinge he tuna han kan kalpime adi karma yogi abhiyan ama sabira chuanin outcome point mo pe pakhat chu 100% saturation of government services saturation kan ti chuan 100% coverage kan ti na khanita a so every eligible household receives benefits in housing, nutrition, education, health and livelihoods. These are the basic needs of household which are housing, nutrition, education, health and livelihoods. So 100% saturation ka hemi mission can achieve atumani. So village visioning 2030 through wall art and investment through Dajkwa. Village visioning kan ti khanin tunai hanin Mizoram te ang kecho 100% literate state kan in puangta mase he abhiyan ro pui ve ne so village visioning kan ti khan is not only about collection of data or infrastructure gap or social gaps. Village visioning kami molder de mi molder hatila mi because section of the society te panan share type thi during transit wa kan nei khan banga te khan an khomep te kha an resources te khame pinan siam ve kanga helaya hian tui kan mamo helaya hian school helaya biak in omse helaya khatyang khan wall art mang te khan anti achu chuanin 100% participation community participation kha an ensure donani wall art mang khan anti fikani hemi through mission a hi chuan azia po khan ompoka wall art ba ka khan azia po khan ompoka chu bang chuanin mi zong zong khan an participate ve thei donani chuan Dajkwa kan ti chu Ministry of Tribal Affairs why it's one scheme this Dajkwa is a scheme under Ministry of Tribal Affairs chu Dajkwa mangyan an mambo kha fund tum ani atuna han tuna village visioning an ti a 2030 thing han Dajkwa mangat fund tum ani wal khanin hi policy making atan po Dajkwa ina a fund philo chin po ministry danga ani faranga chuba ba chon policy making atan po he village action plan hi an mangdonani adi sewa center single window service centers. This is where imparting knowledge comes in. So in every village used to have an Adi Sewa center, which is a single window service centers. Khatakhan ini umang in every village easy accessible support hubs. Heavy accessible support hubs kha ni donani he mission maya hian he da khani tui kan kungate pawarate te education te health te khani department contact details it should be there. Department contact details. So scheme wise information fek tur khani boka. Chu chuanin bipui te zinga khanin ang scheme ye kan avail the that knowledge imparting. This is one of the exercise for knowledge imparting scheme wise information will be there in Adi Sewa centers, and grievance redressal register. So every community member khanin lung oilaw na anni khanin register khan anwan zia factor ani bokani emission kha thatle za chu. So register khan lo maintain vi kam kha Adi Sewa centers khan. So government teams, all those who are responsible for those core 7 districts will have joint visit calendar. So joint visit kami community members tele government teams te khanin anne se anga enge grievances anne ti te kha enge uluk takin anwan kal chindo na. So assigned team captain department per village team captain kha anne don buka khata khan village khan heta yanin Adi Sewa center khotam taka tuna yan siamani to under this abhiyan it has been set up. So nin tuna yanin village action plan po hi khosa hi chuanga Mizoram po yan siamani to khakan la kalpui chhozel dona. So nin district pariyata yan Adi Karma Yogi abhiyan hi he kalpui to ani bukani. So weekly tribal seva hour every Monday all departments commit one to engage directly with tribal communities. All departments of the district, whether from block and from the village, are to have direct engagement with the tribal community leaders to have that discussion regarding their grievances and gaps. So Bangjon and development ang tikha hebi noihan kha outcome impact atung kha anita Karma Yogi abhiyan khan. Chuan anti dan chu heta yan hi seva Adi Sewa kendra lem kha anita heta yan achuo omtu kha register te kan vision te kha vi kanga register omanga chuan contact details te kha vi kanga chuan grievances kha every member of the society khan an vazia thevi ka kalung oi lo chuta chuan chumi department chuan ni ngai sak lo ti ang chi song kha an vazia vi kanga khami grievance kha address to khanin government officials te khanin weekly te khan an vocal chindon ni chuan hi village visioning exercise an ti illiterate titan po asya tham thik to khanita ahtihan map an siama and resources ni te khulaya nge forest area oma khulaya nge school oma enge kan mamoti song kha visioning exercise kha hemi manghian ti so Mizoram kan kalpui hi tiam kan soive shimanga state level orientation te kha kan conduct to district master trainer te kha kan ti fit to Mizoram ayanin Adi hemi play hani khwaza thumle som thum pahi first phase ayan cover to mani khwaza le som kwa pokwa ayan village action plan kha siam to ani poka seva kendra kha tuna Adi Sewa kendra center sakha 145 hi kan siam to chuan workbook te kha portal khan kan upload fit to chuan vision wall painting kan ti hetiang wall painting kha somdi bali cha kan ti ve thwa heta hi chuan kan hu foil do hi ka wall painting adi han tran kan la chau ve me bokani chuan heta hi local department chu planning department ani planning department IOET po voina kan buka chuan challenges chuan convergence of government schemes kan ti ang chi khas Adi Sewa center khan schemes ong information kan le kha an ma bo te engineer kan converge yang ti kha community leaders te khanin anun friend don ani chuan kha Adi Karma Yogi abhiyanin atum ber anita the largest tribal transformative mission in the world ti khanita hi so some hello.
Good afternoon. My name is Amy Felicia Daniel. I'm a research scholar from the Department of Mass Communication, Mizoram University. I have a question each for Professor Ayang Ayambam and Professor James. My question for Professor Ayambam is, Vande Mataram, with its limited linguistic diversity, how is it still relevant in today's age, especially in the context of Mizo society? And my question to Professor James is, GST Reform 2025, yes, it is a relief for common man, for the common people, but how does it affect the middleman, specifying to people who take the products, people who sell the products as wholesales, and shopkeepers who take the products from these wholesale customers and sell it to consumers again? How does it affect them, and what is their rate of income or benefit through this GST reform? Thank you.
Good afternoon, dear speakers. My question is for Professor James, and that is, are petroleum products and alcohol for human consumption expected to be brought under GST regime in future reforms? Thank you.
I guess that is pretty much it, so I put the session to the expertise here.
Thank you very much for the wonderful question. I would say that it becomes more and more important, actually, and it becomes more relevant in this fractured society. Say, for example, when we talk about whether it's a Mizo or the Nagas or anybody, particularly in the Northeast, we are yet to be integrated to the mainstream India in every sense of the term. Say, for example, when Narendra Modi come and inaugurate the railway station in Saira, people were clapping their hands. I was crying, you know. You have a railway connection after 75 years, and we are clapping. You have to remember that we were neglected, we were not seen as an Indian for 75 years. When he is talking about, when the Prime Minister of India is talking about a bullet train from Mumbai to his hometown, we were not talking about a train. And as if train is something, that also a train from here to Delhi, you know how long it takes. You have to ride for 3 nights. And we are celebrating, you know. That is why it becomes more and more, because they have to see that there is also another world. India doesn't end in Bengal. That's why I always said the so-called East-West corridor, we started from Porbandar, it ends up at Silchar. Nobody talks about. Is it Silchar is the last town of the country in the eastern side? I say no. That is what I'm saying. In political science, we say this is what we call as a crisis of integration. Unless every inch of the land is integrated equally with other parts. We need this kind of a spirit. I don't think Northeast or Mizoram or Manipur or Nagaland is not going to be disintegrated in my lifetime. I'm not hoping and expecting that kind of thing anymore. In that case, we have to integrate it. They have to come, they have to see we are a part of India. That is why this kind of a spirit of nationalism, political socialization, the consciousness of India, we need to talk more. The history of India should include the history of Mizoram. When we talk about the Indian knowledge system, I always say Indian knowledge system should include the knowledge of the Mizo, the knowledge of every community in this part of the world. Then only we are going to talk about India as a whole. It becomes more and more relevant in this fractured society where people are fighting with small ethnic identities, are fighting against each other. We are fighting with religion. We are not talking about as human being. Why don't you see me as a human being, as a brother and sister?
Why you look at me as a, he comes from Northeast, he comes from Manipur, he comes from Nagaland or Mizoram. That is why this kind of thing is becoming more and more important. Thank you.
Thank you for your relevant question. Yeah, middlemen, GST relief middle class like us, middle class population, and middlemen, I think you mean commission agent, who are dealing, procuring the goods and selling it to the retailer, B2B transactions. So their profit will not be affected because they pay the GST while buying the inputs and selling their product to the retailer, after charging the GST on the final price, the best price. Then can claim ITC reduction. So their profit will remain safe, will not be affected. And so if you change Zazuleka, so Padiatin GST along GST. So then kita akan change some in resort some leka, some change some leka. Kata azot some akan GST kata sana. So then GST pay to katana. So a profit will not be affected. But ease of tax return filing, ease of doing business will be improved by GST reform, not the profit. So the corporate, the business community, their profit is not affected directly, but they can earn more profit through the ease of doing business that the GST reform. And regarding the petroleum and alcohol product, yeah, they are the privilege or the precious item for the government. They want to exercise their power over these two items like petroleum and excise. Petroleum, the central government want to exercise its power, like because the import, it is imported item, petroleum goods, it is canalized, it is not open to private business, canalized item, just like this gold, it is canalization. The authorized entity, authorized business, especially the public sector enterprise, only the authorized entity are permitted to import the petroleum and crude oils from other countries. So they need to pay tax to the government by the government entity, a public sector enterprise. And another thing is the government want to maintain price stability. It is the mandate of the RBI to maintain, to control the inflation. Not only the RBI, the finance ministry is also trying to have its influence on the price, the inflation. So it is highly volatile, the price is volatile, oil price is volatile. So it is not safe to leave it to the market by putting this item under GST umbrella. There is a debate going on. So it may be one day come under GST, but may not be soon also, because it is the precious politically and economically and sustainability of economic management. And for the excise, the state excise, the state may not be ready to lose the revenue they earn from state excise. See, Delhi is earning more than 10,000 crore from state excise, from liquor, Zubutani. So Karnataka is earning more than 20,000. So imagine, they are big states. They may not want to lose such a huge amount of revenue that comes under their control, their authority. So they may not be ready to sacrifice their authority on state excise. So it's a political, so it may come one day. Now it is tobacco product has come under GST regime. Earlier it was separate under VAT. Now it has come to GST regime. So likewise, one day we may see the coming of petroleum and alcohol under GST umbrella. But petroleum may be a risk. Inclusion of petroleum product under GST umbrella may be a risk venture for the government because it may inflation, like geopolitical situation creates inflationary pressures. Etinan mipakatrong remote kan crude price cut plus takina di contain. There's sanction against Russian oil exporting firm. Then one day, only within 24 hours, the crude oil price increased by more than 30%. So the government should be there at that point to protect the consumer from the inflation, volatile prices, international prices. So there are so many arguments for and against regarding the inclusion of petroleum under GST umbrella. Thank you.
Now, to conclude this informative and interactive session, I request Mr. Lerginlen Lovum, Field Publicity Assistant, Central Bureau of Communication, ISO, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all the distinguished members of the MGA, esteemed resource persons, all the participants of today's one-day media conclave. Vartalap, we have reached the conclusion of a truly insightful and intellectual stimulating technical session. I, on behalf of Press Information Bureau, ISO, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, it is my distinct honor and privilege to propose the formal vote of thanks. Firstly, our deepest gratitude goes to all our distinguished resource persons for sharing their invaluable time, expertise, and research with us and arming us with contacts and specialized knowledge. To Professor Dr. Yangam Siamkishore, Department of Political Science, Mizoram University, thank you for taking us through this historical significance of the commemoration of 150 years of DD Mizoram. Your presentation was a powerful reminder of our rich heritage and the foundation close to our nation. To Professor Dr. James Vartalap, Department of Economics, Mizoram University, thank you for shedding light on the critical and timely topic, GST reforms 2025, really for common man and use for business. The expert analysis offered practical insights into the future of our economy and its impact at the grassroots level. To Ms. Yalton Sami Rasel, Nodal Officer, Deputy Advisor, Deputy Secretary, Planning and Program Implementation Department, Government of Mizoram, thank you for illuminating the Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan, your presentation on empowering individuals and institutions for tribal transformation provides a crucial roadmap for inclusive development and social equity. Dear resource persons, your diverse topics and presentations have collectively enriched our understanding of history, economics, and community development, and provided us with the necessary technical grounding to offer nuanced and responsible coverage of these complex issues. I would also like to thank the host and moderator of both the sessions, Ms. Priti, for skillfully guiding the proceedings and ensuring the session ran smoothly and efficiently. And finally, my sincere appreciation to the entire NJA for your participation. A big thank you to all the participants, students and faculty of Mass Communication, MCT University, Fly University, officials and media teams of DIPR, DDK, and AIR Kasvani ISO, and staffs of both PIB and CBC. for your enthusiastic engagement, your thought-provoking questions during the Q&A segment, and your presence and attention throughout the session. Your presence today affirms your role in shaping from public disclosure in Mizoram. With deep gratitude to all, I conclude this vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to the conclusion of the one-day media conclave Vartalap. We now warmly invite everyone to join us for lunch. Thank you once again and have a pleasant afternoon.